Welcome. I'm Paul Little, President and CEO of the Pasadena Chamber of Commerce, and I am here with Don Schweitzer of Schweitzer Law Partners. Don is the chair-elect of the board of the Chamber of Commerce and also chairs our Economic and Business Development Committee. Don, it's good to see you.
Nice seeing you, Paul. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, thanks for doing this. We appreciate your taking the time to give the members an opportunity to get to know you a little bit.
My opportunity. I've been waiting for my presidency is coming soon, and I'm really looking forward to meeting the people out there more than I have already.
Anyway, if you could, Don, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I am a family law attorney. I have a law practice in Pasadena. It's Schweitzer Law Partners. We just so happen to be the largest family law firm in the San Gabriel Valley. We have 10 attorneys, 20 staff members. We also have an estate planning component of our practice. One of my partners, Schweitzer, is a certified estate planning attorney. And the reason why I mentioned those things to you, Paul, is that for me, when I started the practice here in Pasadena 20 years ago, my goal was to have a practice exactly like it is now. And I was able to fulfill my dreams, meet my goals just by doing the right things here in Pasadena. And the firm was set up intentionally so that we can really take care of our clients. We have a strong enough team to handle complex matters. We've developed a very strong reputation in the city. And when I mentioned the estate planning attorney that we have, Schweitzer, we deal with a lot of crossover issues. And it's a real asset to our firm that we have somebody that could handle those problems at the beginning, middle of, and even at the end of our family law cases. I am married. My wife, Maria, who you know, probably knew her before you met me. She's always been my business manager. I'd like to say she's the brains of our operation. She's our crisis manager, and this firm would not exist without her. She and I started the practice 20 years ago, believe it or not. This is why it's so cool that I'm stepping into the presidency now, meeting this milestone. But we live in Pasadena. We've raised 3 children here, and we just love being part of the community. We love being part of the business community here in Pasadena.
Well, we'll have to come cut a ribbon for that 20th anniversary. I think that's.
Well, you remember, you probably, because you cut so many ribbons, that you were here once upon a time. I think it was when we got to the present location. You were there with your staff, and we've got those photographs, and it was a great time.
It's always fun to celebrate milestones with members, and 20 years in business is a very big achievement.
Thank you. Yeah, I always tell people the longest job that I ever had was about 8 years. That was when I was a deputy DA before I got into family law, and that was a long time for me. My goal is to make it for many more years. I really love operating a business and practicing law, mentoring people, taking care of people in their needs. It's very demanding, challenging. I probably don't speak a language that's any different than any other business owner in Pasadena, but it's something I hope to do for a long time.
Well, Schweitzer Law Partners is, as you said, the largest, but also one of the most well-regarded and respected firms in Pasadena and the San Gabriel Valley. And that's in large part to you and the folks that you work with, and how you present yourselves and the business to the community.
Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate that feedback. That's definitely the image that we want, and we wanted to develop that, and really started off with some core values and a very strong mission statement at the very beginning when we started our practice. Essentially, it is be authentic, be honest. Ethics are way up there in our practice. We want to never. We always want to be thought of as the good guys, the ethical law firm in town, and something that I impose upon the staff. It's part of our culture, and the pursuit of excellence as well. You know, we just don't want to handle cases. What we want to do is make a difference in people's lives, and it's sincere and authentic. It's not a commercial. It's something that I feel driven for. You know my background, Paul. You know that I'm a former cop and a former prosecutor. When I found myself being in private practice, I had a moment, and it was here in Pasadena, just probably a month or so after I started the practice. I had to ask myself, why am I doing this? Am I doing this to get rich? Am I doing this to just bill clients? And, you know, the inner voice spoke to me, and it was, no, you're doing this to serve a purpose. And that is to take care of people, take care of my clients, and take care of course, my employees, and be a good citizen within this town as, you know, a business citizen.
You joined the chamber board several years ago. Can you tell us why you wanted to be part of the leadership of the chamber?
How about if I try to answer first, when was it that I even became aware that there was a Chamber of Commerce and what impact that had on me? That's probably the better question, and I'll answer that. A long time ago, probably 20 years ago, we were invited by Tom Daly, a former president of the chamber, who you are very good friends with, you and I both. And I was invited to sit at the table at that morning breakfast that you have in December of every year. And I remember walking into the room and seeing the energy in the room of the business community and how awesome it was that the Pasadena Chamber is intricately involved in all affairs with Pasadena. And for me and my wife and my family, Pasadena is the greatest city in America. And to think that we could become part of the business establishment, the people that make a difference, was just, breathtaking, and stuff. So we started slowly going to events, and I became very much aware that you and the chamber was doing so many things in town, all the events you were putting on and all the support you gave to people, business opportunities, opportunities to network. I just had to be part of that. I think that to ignore that asset, that opportunity would have been really detrimental to my firm.
Okay, great. I'm glad you enjoy the events. I know you you and your committee are leads with our Economic and Business Summit in October, which is another enlightening event, I think is probably the best way to put it, but also fun. And the President's Breakfast that we do for the tournament every December is a highlight for very many people. So I appreciate your mentioning that.
Yeah, Paul, I think that people should know that being part of the chamber has such tremendous opportunities that you wouldn't have in other cities because it's here in Pasadena. When you talk about that business development or the business summit that we have in the fall, usually, it's really cool to sit in there as a member and audience to learn about what's going on in town. And every year, your head spins with the dynamic things that are happening, and we have leaders come from all over the San Gabriel Valley and sometimes all over the country to come in and speak about the economic situation that's happening, in the country and locally. You feel really privileged to be part of that, to be able to be an audience to it. And whenever I walk away, I feel like I've gained something that I can gauge my decision making on, based upon what I've learned. And same thing with that breakfast. That breakfast, is my very favorite one because it's a moment right before the world descends upon Pasadena. It's that one time where people get together and say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this shortly. And the whole world's going to be watching. And you get some, it feels like you're getting, the special treatment from the people that are not only making decisions, but the folks that will be on TV. You got the princesses and the queen comes into the room. You've got the Tournament of Roses president. Unbelievable, to be in there in that room with all the folks. And it just goes along with what I say about Pasadena. Pasadena is a town of energy. It's a town where if you look at it the right way, you can't help but feeling inspired. I mean, the history of this little city and the businesses that have come through this and the people that live and work and work together is amazing. And I tell my staff members, I'm like, if you're having a bad day, get in your car or get on your bicycle or take a walk and just look at what surrounds you. And how could you not feel inspired to do your very best and pursue excellence with what we have here and what's been here? You and I are from other places, right? You come from the East Coast, Connecticut. I come from the suburbs of Chicago, and we know how to recognize a good thing, right? When you come in here, this is a very, very strong community, and people might think that that's only related to some of the fun things that go on, like the Rose Bowl and stuff. But you look at the great institutions here, and the businesses that have made it here and become world renowned. It just goes on and on. It doesn't stop, and it's not losing its popularity. Pasadena continues to grow in the business community, and to be part of that is really exciting. I don't know about you, Paul, but on the weekends, Maria, my wife, and I might take a drive around town, and I look at all the businesses that are, either starting or flourishing, and I'm thinking I'm part of that, and it's really is exciting to be part of that. It gives you energy to get up every day and make it a little bit better for your business and for the community.
Well, you become chair of the board on July 1st. We'll have a nice celebration the last Friday in June to thank Raphael Henderson, who's the current chair, and to welcome you as the chair of the board. Are there things you want the chamber to focus on in 2023 to 24? And are there things you'd like to accomplish?
Absolutely. One of the things we need to do in the chamber, and that we will be doing in the chamber, is recovering from COVID. That COVID years touched the chamber just like it touched every business, every organization, and we are already, fast recovering from that. But as a leader, I need to do my part to increase membership and bring back some of the events that we couldn't do, during the COVID years. But it's about bringing the energy back and just being a good leader with that. I also want to connect. I want to connect with a lot of business owners, particularly people that are just starting up businesses that are maybe smaller, something, that you see up and down the streets that don't get people's attention, that there's human beings behind that are struggling to make it work. One of the things that I've learned from being part of this chamber is I don't care what business you're in, Paul, we all speak the same language, right? We all have payrolls, we all have marketing, we all have profit and loss statements, we all have headaches, and we all have dreams and goals that we have to pursue. And I want to connect with other people like that. It doesn't matter if you're in the law, if you're in the restaurant business, if you're a medical professional, it just doesn't matter. I mean, we all speak the same language, and I want to get out there and get to know people, listen to them, find out if we could do something further for them, but also to let them know that there is this huge resource called the Pasadena Chamber, and they ought to be involved in it.
Terrific. Thank you. You're on the board, you hear sort of what's, what we're doing. How do you think the chamber's doing?
I think remarkably well, especially given the challenges that we've faced over the past 4 years. Paul, when we got into the COVID, I was really nervous about the chamber. I mean, because, our constituents, the people that support the chamber, the organization, were folks that a lot of them were closing down their businesses, and stuff. And, how are we going to survive that? But you've done a remarkable job. The staff over there has done a remarkable job of keeping us going, making the cuts necessary, being frugal, but never, ever being pessimistic. I remember attending meetings, and you were always upbeat and okay with, leading the way along that, as well as our past presidents. It was a real sign of leadership, strength among people to be part of that. And I was fortunate not to be a leader during that time period, because I think I would have panicked a little bit. But being part of that and watching people work their way through really told me something about the resilience of successful people like yourself and like the chamber. So the chamber is doing great. I know that we are getting back on track with regard to some of the meetings that we had and some of the events that we were putting on before. And I think that 2023 will be that time where it kicks back in, and it's going to be a breath of fresh air, because anytime that you shut something even remotely, down a little bit, something that's slowed down a little bit, you bring it back and there's new ideas and there's going to be new things that we can't even think about right now, right? But we've got new members on the board, and I just think that we're going to have a lot of creative ideas, a lot to give to the business community.
Thank you. Anything else you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I think that if you're watching this video and you're not a member of the Pasadena Chamber of Commerce and you're interested, you should feel free to call me. If you have issues, in business, and you're looking for somebody to bounce ideas off of, come and see me, attend our meetings, talk to other people. Understand that the Pasadena Chamber is about uniting people like you and me, people that are pursuing our goals, our dreams, and we all have the difficulties. But when you have a network of people that you can rely on, somebody that you could call at the drop of a dime and ask questions, people that you can refer business to and receive business to, it makes it a lot easier. Running a business, being part of a great organization like the Chamber actually makes it fun. So I encourage people out there that are watching this video to keep being part of the Chamber, or if you're not part, join us. Give me a call.